What up, everyone? Welcome back to Blade Bias. It's finally here. I spent a week with the Zippy Cycloid V2. Here's what I learned. Why does this series always start with me dropping the freaking ballast song? It just doesn't seem to ever want to stop, you know? Like, suddenly, I almost had it there. I just wanted to keep talking so that maybe I could trick my brain into letting me do the trick. So yeah, this is the Cycloid V2, and I have spent a pretty significant amount of time daily driving it. It's actually been a better daily driving experience than I thought it was going to be out of the box, because out of the box, the balance wasn't my favorite. It wasn't the best balance in the world. The handles carried way too much momentum. Also, why am I not doing with this? Oh, that's so much better. Get a cloth or something when you take this thing apart. That's Zippy's own words. I'm going against Zippy's own words doing it with my bare hands. So yeah, this is the Cycloid V2, the most adjustable ballast song on the market, bar none. Bar none. Bar none. We have seen weight systems in ballast songs. You have the Koenig, which I think really kind of popularized it. You have the Mako, which has the pivot in the end of the handle that you can take out. Same thing with the Prisma. You have more complex weight systems, like the things in the Tsunami, or the Seraph, or the Opus, or all of these other ballast songs. I can do the hand gestures all I want. All of these ballast songs have amazing... Wow, we'll get into that later. They have adjustment, but not this much adjustment, because usually they just have the handles. But Zippy takes it a step further and gives you the Blade 2. You can take this thing from the most blade-biased thing on the planet. Exaggeration, obviously, probably not true, but to really, really handle-biased. Take out all these weights, put all the weights in the handles, you have a disgustingly handle-biased ballast song. And everything in between. One of these discs equals 3 balls, I believe. So if you take out a disc and you put in a ball, now you've suddenly lost 2 balls of weight. Put in 2 balls, you've only lost 1 ball of weight. And you can do that, vroom vroom, and you can do that with any one of these discs. And you can see my preferred weight style is 1 disc up here, 1 disc down here, remove one of the discs on the bottom, and then put a ball in. I've been experimenting with putting the second ball in, and I kind of like it, but my favorite balance so far has definitely been this setup in both spacers. It's a little blade bias, and it's not like the stickiest in Chaplains, but what it makes up for, or what it lacks in like Chaplains, it more than makes up for in fanning and choker fanning. It feels really good. But just the experimentation factor of the Cycloid is so good. From the customization of being able to buy new spacers if you want different colors, to the customization of the balance itself. You can truly express yourself on this ballast song like no other. Obviously, we've had expression in ballast songs done before with things like, obviously, the edit is sitting right next to me. Well, the edit light is sitting next to me, but you get the idea. But those are expression in the looks, not in the balance. Granted, the edit does have an adjustable weight system, but it feels so much less granular than this does. You have so much more control. Especially as someone who really only liked the original weight distribution on the edit. Not to say they're all bad. I'm sure someone will find something that they like in those other balances, but this just like anyone can make a balance that they like. Whereas something like the Koenig with 3 options, some people out there might not like any one of those 3 options. They might want something in between, and this finally gives you that customization to be able to do that. But enough about the customization, Ethan. We get it. You've been talking about this for weeks now. And to that I say, dear viewer, that's true. What would you like to hear about next? And the answer to that is probably the overall experience of the Cycloid. How does it flip? How does it hold up? How is it built? Etc. The Cycloid, on my list of plastic ballast songs, goes exactly where I said it was going to in the unboxing video. It has not moved from that 3rd place spot. It goes above the Squiddy A, but still below the Tay Flipper for me. Why is that? You just spent the last 2 videos gushing about how customizable it is and how cool it is, only to say that it's still not your favorite plastic balisong. Yes, because while the spoilers here. While the balance is infinitely customizable, the distribution is not. Unfortunately, in the handle specifically, I think the blade is actually weighted quite well. You have the weight kind of spread out, and you have a bit of a heavier material making up the blade. But the handles are not like that. The handles, it is very obvious that all of the weight is in the spacers. And that's why I have that one disc up further in the spacer, because I wanted more weight up in the handles. You might think, oh, take out the disc and then make it even. Take out this disc and make it even. But I was worried that that would push the weight distribution even further into the handles, which I didn't want. I want the handles to still have their own weight, and on this version of the Cycloid, they just don't. Now, Zippy has announced a full nylon variant of the Cycloid V2, which comes in at 2.79 ounces or something ridiculous. Heavier than the Edit Light. With all of this customizability, that might be the exact thing that I'm looking for in terms of a more distributed customizable balisong. Because, oh my god, if I could get the distribution of the Edit Light with the customizability of the Cycloid, that would be a killer balisong. Holy cow. So maybe I'll have to work some strings with Zippy and maybe be able to try the Cycloid V2 with the nylon. I think the tentative name is like the Cycloid HD or something. So yeah, maybe I'll have to get in like a pass around for that or something, because he of course announced them right after I bought this. I knew the nylon was coming, but I didn't know how much more it was going to weigh, because this thing weighs like 2.2 ounces or something like that. 2.3, 2.4, and the nylon one weighs 2.8, which is heavier than the Edit Light and sounds really, really cool, especially with all the customization. But yeah, tangent aside, the weights are paper thin, and they feel like it too. Not to say it feels bad quality, but when you flip it, you can feel that there's no weight along this entire channel. And you can feel that really when you take out the spacers and you try to flip it. I realize it shouldn't be balanced whatsoever, but it feels like you're flipping a blade, and that's it, because the handles just don't have any weight to them. Which is a little disappointing, as someone who's become increasingly more aware of the distribution on his balisongs. It's a bit disappointing to have something this cool fall a little flat in terms of that distribution part, you know? Especially when the Edit Light is so unbelievably perfect in that aspect. And that's why it remains my top favorite plastic balisong as of right now. The distribution is immaculate. And I mean, the balance is also immaculate on the Edit Light, in my opinion. But that's less of an argument here, because you can make the balance whatever you want. So that's my biggest complaint with the Cycloid V2, because otherwise it flips really, really well. Because you can customize it to whatever you want, I don't think there is anyone who's going to pick one of these up and go, oh, I can't make a balance that I like. I don't think that can happen. Unless you're really, really into distribution, you absolutely will be able to make a balance that you like. And it's a comfortable flipping experience. It's bigger than the old Cycloids, while not being as big as something like the Edit Light. It's got these wonderful chamfers on the end. It feels a bit sharp on some points, but that's just like 3D printing. It's nothing like the old Tay Flipper was certainly much more rough in this description, or in this field, but it certainly doesn't feel as overall smooth as something like a Edit Light would, which is perfectly fair. I realize that they're different materials that they're being made out of, so that's not too big of a gripe. And it flips great. Tuning is great. Tolerances are great. I mean, it's a plastic balisong. Tolerances aren't going to be incredible. You're still going to get tap, but there is far less pivot play in this than you would get in anything else. So it's impressive. It's just what you come to expect from Zippy, pretty much. The customization is great. I love the tracers at the end of the handles, allowing me to see where the balance is, or where the bite handle is and all that, especially with the fluorescent colors that I have. Makes it very easy to figure out when I'm going to be hitting the safe handle, when I'm going to be hitting the bite handle. It's great. But I think my other biggest gripe with it is the tank pins. Because while I have said that they're amazing, and they feel really good, the tank cups are where I have my problem. Because when you get into things like chaplains, there's just a tiny edge of your finger that goes into that tank cup, that goes into that tank cup, and it feels just a little bit rough. And then when you go into something like a full twirl, your finger kind of gets up in here for the full twirl, and then the blade comes and it slams it down, and your finger gets pinched inside the tank cup. And it just kind of sucks. If you get it right, I mean, there are certainly times when you full twirl and it doesn't pinch your finger at all. But I would say about 80% of the time when I full twirl, I'm going to feel a pinch. Specifically here, when I stop it here, my finger's in that little tank cup, I'm going to feel something. And your mileage will certainly vary. Maybe you have bigger fingers, so that won't be an issue for you. But I think that's been my biggest thing, is anything to do with like chaplains and stuff where you're stopping the balisong, like here, pinch. And it just doesn't feel amazing. Again, it's nothing bad. It's not like being pinched by like a nautilus or something. It's a very mild pinch, but it is still a pinch nonetheless. And it is just ever so uncomfortable. Yeah, I think that's pretty much my gripe list with the Cycloid V2. It's a really good plastic Valley. And it certainly shines in, I think this is an amazing learning tool. We'll get into this in the next buyer's guide for plastic balisongs. But this is the balisong to buy if you want to further understand how balance can affect the flipping profile of a balisong. What happens if I just have weight here in the blade? What happens if I just have weight here in the blade? What happens if I have all my weight down here and nothing up here? Like, you can experiment. I've likened it to something that should be in like a museum. You know, when you go to a museum and they have those toys there that help a kid learn a concept? Like, I don't even know. You have like a water flow thing where the water kind of like flows through like a path and it teaches them like water dynamics. I don't know what I'm saying. I don't even know if water dynamics is a thing. I'm just speaking out of my ass at this point. But like, you know what I mean? You go to a museum and they have like toys there to help you understand a concept better. That's how I see the Cycloid V2. It's a flipper that allows you to understand how different weights and different weight points are going to affect your flipping. If I remove specifically this weight here, I notice a difference, and it helps you kind of understand that difference. And I'm sure it's going to be an amazing tool for anyone who's looking to balance a plastic balisong. I don't know if it'll work quite as well for metal, because like I said, the weight distribution isn't necessarily there. But it certainly kind of helps you understand, okay, if there's weight focused here, this is how it will feel. If there's weight focused here, this is how it will feel. And I think it's amazing for that. And it's just endless fun. Likening it to a toy in a museum might be me looking down on it to some people, but it is absolutely not, because I love those toys at the museum, and I'm a 19, almost 20-year-old person. Those things are the most fun that you will have at a museum like that, and it is absolutely the same for this. Just experimenting and thinking, oh, I'm going to take this ball out, but then I'm also just going to take out a random weight in the blade, and I just want to see how it feels. It's disgusting amounts of fun. I can't even lie. And it's teaching me so much about balance points and all that, and I love it. It almost makes me want to see Zippy take this to the absolute extreme. Even just a one-of-one model to put in a museum. Just weights down the entirety of the blade and weights down the entirety of the handle, so I can truly mess around. God, that would be so much fun. Ooh, I'm gonna remove 2 weights here, and then I'm gonna remove 2 weights here, and I'm gonna see how that feels. Or no, I'm gonna take out all the weights here and just leave it there, and then on this handle I'm gonna take out all the weights here and then just have it there, and then we're gonna see how that flips. Like, just all the possibilities are endless. That would be so much fun. But until that exists, if that even ever will exist, which I highly doubt it will, we have this. And this is just extraordinary fun. A little rough around the edges. The distribution being the biggest problem I have with it, because sometimes you just feel like you're missing something along here, something that I don't feel like I'm missing when I flip something like an Edit or an Edit Light or a Tay Flipper or a Calico even. But yeah, what Zippy lacks in weight distribution, he more than makes up for in cosmetic customizability, balance customizability, durability. I didn't even touch on durability. I've been flipping this thing over concrete on park benches and everything, and it doesn't even have a scratch on it. I mean, the blade is a bit torn up, as you can see. I'm concerned about how the nylon is going to react to hitting concrete over and over and over and over again. But everything else is great. The rubber spacers at the bottom hits to the concrete so well. The plastic itself doesn't really scuff up too much if I do drop it like that, and it kind of hits the sides rather than the ends of the handles. It's a fucking solid balisong, dude. And one that I definitely recommend. But if you're in the market for a plastic balisong, stay tuned on Thursday, and I will be doing a plastic buyer's guide, going over every option that you have in the plastic market and giving you the reasons that you should or should not buy each one based on what kind of person you are. So I hope you're looking forward to that. Thank you, Zippy. When I say thank you, Zippy, just thanks for making this. He didn't send it to me for free or anything. I did buy it myself, as I made clear in the unboxing video. But you've done a great job, and I'm very happy to see your return to balisong making above the diode, because I don't think the diode is your best work. And Zippy might agree with that. I just, like, when you compare the diode to this, it's kind of night and day. So yeah, go check out the Cycloid V2, and go check out my plastic buyer's guide coming out next time on Blade Bias. Why am I doing next time on Dragon Ball Z for Blade Bias? It's not that big of an event. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Later.